OKS Youth Ministry podcast, where three of the OKS Youth Ministers talk about youth ministry. I'm Michael Deese. I am joined by Hunter Puckett and Jeremy Crow, and I want to start us off by saying, happy birthday, Coleman McQuiston! Today is his birthday, and I do want to just say that he's awesome.
Is he our number one listener, do you think?
Probably.
There's a really good chance.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at the analytics, but I feel like the fact that after we posted on Christmas Eve, he texted me that morning and said, you guys actually put an episode out for Christmas? This is awesome.
Yeah.
We were also surprised. So.
Listen, I saw it pop up and I didn't. I was surprised though.
But wait. But yeah, Coleman, shout out. Happy birthday. We hope you're doing well. And remember, I have that deal with you. I'm just waiting to hear back. So get back with me soon.
Yeah. All right. Well, how's everybody been? I feel like we hadn't been in the studio for a while.
The studio.
Everybody has a good holiday.
Yeah. We had a minister's luncheon. It wasn't a preacher's luncheon.
That's right.
Because we're youth ministers. It was a minister's luncheon.
Okay.
With all the guys in the area. Jeremy ditched last minute, so it was great.
He did go.
Let me ask this.
Word on the street.
Because it's a preacher's luncheon.
No, it was minister's luncheon.
Minister's luncheon. A lot of preachers. But look, because it's not a youth minister's luncheon, I'm assuming the ability to pay was a little bit higher. So my question is this: was there anything that was ordered for the table?
Nothing was ordered.
No one
preachers
stepped
are
out.
cheap.
Yeah,
preachers are cheap.
No one stepped out on the appetizers.
You guys all have to remember, like, we're going to O'Brien's Steakhouse for our youth ministers luncheons. I mean, we're getting out there with a pretty hefty check.
Yeah.
And for Libby's, it was like, I mean, you get the hush puppies for the table.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true.
But that was about it. And like, two of the preachers, two of the preachers didn't even eat because they're fasting.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was a biblical fast or just they're just trying to lose some weight. But
they probably needed to, just like me. So.
No, they probably didn't actually.
We had a great time though. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. It wasn't. I will say it wasn't as good as O'Brien's.
The food it was fine.
Yeah, it was mac and cheese.
Yeah.
Just mac and cheese.
The green beans were not good.
No, and there were stems all in
Hot
it.
take. Libby's green beans not good.
Man.
You heard it here first.
Anyways, so did y'all get everything you ever wanted from Santa?
Yes.
Yeah.
Got some good stuff. Enjoyed Christmas.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's a lot more enjoyable with a 3-year-old. She's all about it. She loves it.
Dude, I'm telling you, like, my kids are the perfect age.
Yeah.
They're 6 and 4 and 2. The 2-year-old is old enough to just rip presents open.
Yeah.
And the 6 and 4-year-old, it's magic.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I just let Brooklyn open all my presents. I'm like, go ahead and open that one too. Just help me out. I don't know how to do that.
Yeah. It was awesome. I don't think we turned the TV on. No screen was on in our house for like 3 or 4 days, and then
That's
we had
awesome.
EYC.
That's cool.
I mean, it was they were all about their Barbie Dream House and racetrack.
We got a Barbie
Hot
Dream
Wheels
House
racetrack.
too. It was a hot topic. Did we release the exposure episode?
I don't know.
We haven't yet.
Okay.
No,
Yeah, so
Caleb
Special
hasn't said
guest
that.
Nolan Eccles.
Yeah.
Nichols.
Well, it hasn't been released yet, so we'll get that. Hopefully, we'll get that released here soon on a weekday that we just can't
For all
get
of our
together and
video
record.
watchers.
Yeah, and it will be on video. Be a little
Our
different.
second episode.
Our second ever.
Pretty much every time Exposure lets us use their booth.
Whenever Caleb allows us to use his cameras, that's when we.
Then we get to have a video episode. But we do have that coming out. We kind of talk about exposure, our experiences with it. And it was really cool to have Jeremy there this year with the Coleman Youth Group. Actually, the guys group.
The guys group.
They were killing
Boys
it.
trip.
They really enjoyed it. But it was good to hear some feedback from them as well and things they like, things that were similar to other events and stuff along those lines too.
So UIC is a good event.
So I will tell you, I asked for a ranking Sunday night. We had the thing at our house, the dinner party of 10, and Cameron was there. And I said, rank, our big trips. He still put Uplift number 1, okay?
My kids do too.
Number 2 was Maywood. It's still number 2, right? Then he went Exposure number 3. He moved it above Rush. He put Rush as number 4 and Winterfest as number 5.
Yeah.
Which
Rush
was
is a good
interesting.
event too.
And I said, really, Winterfest that low? He goes, no, man, I love Winterfest. I'm going to all 5 of these. You just asked me to rank them.
Yeah.
And so, like, it caught me off guard. He put Rush above. They really enjoyed Rush.
Well, and I had to explain to everybody this year that we're not going to CYC. We didn't have enough people sign up. It's a super expensive trip. But then when we don't have a whole lot of people sign up, your budget ends up eating most of the cost anyways. But so if any youth ministers listening that are going to CYC, I do have a cabin available for you.
Yeah. I need to call them today. We have that retreat that we're going to the same weekend. It's going to go really well. I'm excited about it. And man,
Are you taking anyone to the retreat? Like a plus one?
Yeah. I'll probably have a plus one.
Okay, great.
It'll be a good retreat.
Is Jeremy leading singing for you for that retreat, or is that another
right
one?
here on the podcast? Can we get that confirmed?
I'm actually going to look at the numbers like when we finish this up and send Jeremy a text.
Wait, if we weren't playing cards for the past hour?
Yeah.
Whoa, never would we.
Hey.
I will say I just got back from NCYM, the National Children's and Youth Ministries Conference, out in Arizona, which was incredible. I've never seen that part of Arizona before. I saw, let me see if I can say this, saguaro cactus,
I'm proud
cacti.
of that.
They're like
Close
25 to 40 feet tall.
Very cool.
Creepily huge. And they can weigh up to like 8 tons at full growth.
Did you try and push one over?
I would not want to be in front of one, that's for sure. Also, I wouldn't want to get the prickles from touching one, but they were awesome. And then saw a Phoenix Suns game on the first night we were there. Took my family with me. We watched the Suns make a comeback victory. They were losing the whole first half, came back in the third, and at the end of the game, is it Booker? Devin Booker hit with 0.6 on the clock, hit the go-ahead basket to win the game.
That guy's good.
It was incredible.
Devin Booker is so good.
Over the Thunder, who is like the top-ranked team in the NBA. And so
that's awesome.
Very, very cool night. And saw the Grand Canyon. It was covered in snow, which was not something I was ready for or expecting. Very cool.
Would you say that it was a good game?
Yes. So I would say it was a good game. And I will say I learned a lot at NCYM. I came home with some good ideas. I think it's a good, it had some good strategies to take away. And that's kind of the thing. I talked to one of my elders yesterday, things like M2Y, things like revival in NCYM. We want to come away with at least one big idea, right? Something we're going to implement, something we're going to try, something we're going to utilize in the coming year. And I think I came away with something. So I'm excited about that. And I shared that with one of my elders yesterday. I'm glad that I went, had a great time.
So while we're kind of on this topic real quick, we're planning on doing another episode with you and Sam, kind of talking about NCYM, the ins and outs of it. But just very briefly, could you give us one pro and one thing that you'd like to see maybe change about NCYM? Or maybe just, I don't know, just something positive about it. And maybe something that's like, oh man, like this was really good, but if we did it in this way, it might be a little bit better.
Yeah. I will... Something I noticed this year, it was in Arizona, and so it was a long way. Now, for me, I'm coming from Alabama, so a flight to Arizona is really not more expensive than a flight to Colorado or a flight to Dallas. The last few years, it's been a couple of those. It was in Daytona. Next year, it's in Daytona Beach. So it's not like a crazy more expensive thing, but there were a lot of people last year in Dallas that weren't at this one. And I think it's because there's so many churches in Texas that could drive to Dallas. Yeah. Because it was a flight and it was further out west, I think they lost a little bit of numbers. There was 350-ish youth and children's ministers there that were registered. I think that something that they really do well, and this is something that I think M2Y utilized a little bit of this last year. I'm not for sure about this. You can confirm or deny. They offer a free counselor for the weekend. And so they have a professional counselor. This year, they've had a guy named Steve Autry. He's an elder with the church in St. Louis. But then they also this year had a lady that was there too. So they had a man and a woman that were both professional counselors. And what they do is they say, hey, look, this week, if you need to talk to somebody, if you're going through something, and we've all had moments in ministry where we were in a place of heartbreak or we were in a place of frustration or whatever, and you needed someone professional to talk to about it. They said, hey, these people are here free of charge. They're available. That's something really cool. One of the things that I noticed about this and about M2Y was there was a heavy focus, not as much on the ministry that I'm taking home and using with my teens. It was a lot heavier on spiritually uplifting the minister and helping them to grow. And that's something that both of these events, we've gone to I've gone the last 4 months, really are leaning into the spiritual healthiness and the the mindset of the minister himself. I thought that was good. The worship stuff was awesome. Stephen Maxwell, who used to sing with a cappella, I don't know if he still is involved with that, but he did a great job leading the worship. I sent a couple of videos to both you guys, and it was just very moving. I really enjoyed that. So yeah, that was something that I really love about it. Something that I wish was a little better. This for new people, like if you guys were to go for the first time, and this was my experience a couple of years ago. The reality is we're in the more, I would say, traditional side of Churches of Christ in North Alabama, right? And so I was kind of an oddity in NCYN the first year I went, because it is your more progressive churches, I guess you'd say, and finding connections with other ministers and making friendships and stuff, that really was a struggle for me the first couple of years. And I had a little bit of that this year at M2Y. Like I knew a bunch of guys, but it wasn't, if y'all had not been there, it would have been a little harder for me to just put myself out there and jump in. Something that really did work well for me this year is I managed to find some friends. We played cards at night. We played this dumb game that I just taught y'all. But we hung out till 1, 2 in the morning, just sitting there talking. 1, playing cards. 2, talking about our ministries, our families, what's going on in our world. And that's something that I think could be better, that they're trying to get more of what they call covenant groups, where you get together with people at night. But helping new people get engaged and incorporated in that kind of thing would be valuable.
So would you say that like games do have some kind of purpose?
Games have purpose, and they had purpose in our weekend of conversation. So,
would you say that it was a good game?
It was a great game. I would say I wouldn't mind telling you that The Mind is a great game.
Yeah. Well, in case I haven't been annoying enough, today we're talking about games. And what role they play in our ministries. What is your favorite youth ministry game? Your go-to?
Oh, so it's super funny because we always change. The youth group go through these different fads and different things. Yeah. So we created one per se, and we called it Flint Warfare. And it's basically like 4 decks of Uno cards and then 3 more decks of just the draw 4, draw 2 wild cards. And we have all these different rules. If you've ever been to Flint, we're right next to a railroad track. If you hear a train, you have to put your cards on the table, stand up, walk around the table until you don't hear it anymore, and then sit back down, and those are your new cards. So like we have all these different, if you play a 7, you have to be quiet. Every word you say, you get a card. And like I think our record right now is like plus 26. We play on like draw 26, so like that's a popular one.
We play Spicy Uno.
Yeah,
that sounds a lot
it's very
like
similar.
Yeah,
and then we've also gotten now into this other game called The Bible is Funny. I
haven't played this, but I've seen it being played.
Shout out! I think it was Caleb Martin that introduced that to some of the kids in the youth group. So shout out Caleb on that. But it's Bible verses taken out of context. So it'd be like the prompt. It's very similar to Apples to Apples if anyone's played that. So the prompt is like a cop pulls me over. And there's like your response, and it'd be like your hair is like a flock of sheep, or like whatever it might be, and they just get so funny. But I've noticed there is this when we play games, especially card games or Flint Warfare, the new person always wins. I don't get it.
That seems like that does
in
happen.
Every single situation. We might be playing whatever it might be, even regular Uno. If there's a visitor, or if there's someone that has never played that game before, they're going to win that first game. I don't get it.
Weird. Yeah, I wouldn't allow that.
Yeah, you can't play.
I always enjoy games where we don't have to have any props. Like you don't require cards, you don't require pool noodles or whatever. Let
me just pull up my 100 stack.
But like you know what I'm saying, like games where I don't have to take a bunch of junk to the retreat. Like we can play games like Psychiatrist, where if you don't know what it is, one person leaves the room, everybody decides on, we all have the same problem, and the person comes back and they try to ask questions to figure out. Games like Link, where they run around and kind of icebreaker games. Deese, what's one that you really love?
I like Take a Hike. I like that game. We played that with our EYC.
What do they call it?
It gets intense. Team time.
Yeah.
It gets intense. Kids knocking chairs over.
Well, my favorite one is when the kids really start getting to know each other and they've like started talking about things, and then they're like, if you have a crush on somebody in the room, take a hike. And then the kids get up and they're like, ah, that kind of thing. But I use that when I'm trying to get it. If there's a lot of people that don't know each other, I do that to get them. I also like, one of my favorite games that I like to do with a group when I first am with a group in the church building, and that's like if it's at a lock-in, one of the first things that I do is we play a game that is a combination of what Lonnie Jones made up and Ben Hayes made up, and then I added my own little spin to it. But I call it what Lonnie Jones calls it, and that is Raiders of the Lost Noodle. Okay? And you have two people with pool noodles, and they hide a cone somewhere in the church. And it has to be an open site, so like you can't hide it inside a cabinet covered up with a blanket.
This game?
Yes.
I love this game.
And then the rest of the kids are all trying to find the noodle. And you're working together, but in the middle of trying to find it and searching the rooms and looking through everything, you have people with noodles. And if you get hit with a noodle, the way that I play it is you have to go back to this base, and then once somebody rings the class bells, because that's part of it, then they're released. So that way everybody knows there's a new group coming in. If they jail all of the people, then the people with the noodles win. And if they find the noodle and bring it back to where the jail, quote unquote, the jail is, then the other people win. And it's really fun. That's very, very fun.
So,
but what happens is you have a group of about 10 people that don't play. And probably not that many, probably like 4 or 5 people that don't play. And they just kind of hang out and just walk around. And then you have the people that are intense, searching every corner of every,
Yes.
And they're like, I've checked room number 3. There's nothing in there. Let's go to the next one, And so it makes it's a lot of fun, and it makes our kids interact with each other.
So now the question is, are games just fillers, or are they actually ministry?
Oh no, they're just fillers. They're fun.
Yeah. Well, hit the button.
That's
Every
it.
ministry's blessed. No, they are. I think that sometimes we think of them as just something to fill time, but that's not what's happening, right? Like, so why do you think that games actually are significant? Why are they important? Why do they matter? Or why do we put game times into our retreats or into the beginning of class, or what? Why do you utilize that?
Well, I think Michael said it best when you were talking about take a hike. It helps people get to know each other.
Yeah.
Not everybody in your youth group is going to have this perfect relationship. You're going to have people that are kind of on the outside. And where that comes from, Purpose-Driven Youth Ministry. Doug Fields, I believe, is the author of that. And he talks about the circles, and he talks about community, crowd, congregation, committed, core. Those core kids are your main kids. And the whole goal of that is to get all of your kids closer to that core circle.
Right.
And by playing these games, yes, there can be some sort of Bible involved. The Bible is funny. There are Bible verses on it, but they're used out of context. And all the games we said are just fun, silly games. But what it is doing is it's building that relationship. It's opening up those doors for these kids that are in the crowd that just show up on Sundays, or they're not really super involved. They get to know these other kids a little bit better. They feel a little bit more comfortable coming to the youth group events. And then that allows them to dive deeper into your youth group as well.
Yeah.
And then also, they're at your events, so now you get to know them. You get to talk to them. You get to have these conversations with them. And it allows for more, it allows for more conversations, but it allows for deeper growth within the youth group.
I'm constantly saying this. Probably people are so annoyed by me saying this that they're like, okay, just, but I'm constantly saying, you're not too cool for stuff.
Yeah.
To my teenagers, it doesn't matter.
They'll
be acting like they're way too cool for something, and I'm like, hey, dude, if you would just lock in and quit being acting like you're 16 years old. You are not too cool to play a game.
You're not cool to begin with.
This is not. Yeah, you are 16 years old. You just need to just play the game.
And by the way, let me throw a little dating advice out there. These teen girls like the guy that's willing to be silly and have fun and let loose way more than the guy that's too cool.
Yeah, 100%. But play, don't be too cool for things. And so that also encourages them to kind of feel like the shackles are off and they can kind of be themselves instead of having to do these little society norms and be normal,
right.
Quote unquote. And that helps them kind of express themselves a little better when they're playing these games.
So we had this last Sunday night an example of this relational door opens kind of thing. I think that we underestimate how much playing a game and being silly with people, it kind of builds bridges, in relationships. So we had the other night the kids at our house, and we were playing psychiatrist at the end, and two of the dads showed up to pick up their kids, John and Nate, both showed up to pick up their daughters. And I said, hey, are you guys in a hurry? Like, do you need to go? And they're like, no, we're okay. We can hang out a minute. And I said, would y'all play a game with us? And so they walked in, and I was like, would y'all go to Lincoln's room for just a minute? And so I sent John and Nate to Lincoln's room. Lincoln went and turned his Alexa to "We Are the Champions" by Queen on like full blast. And so it's like, anyway.
Wait, do that again. How was it?
But it sounds like Lincoln does that a lot.
It is blaring, okay? And
one more time
he plays a lot of Queen on his Alexa. So it's blaring in there. They're in there, and we come up with a prompt, and we're going to have them be the psychiatrists. Yeah. And so they come out together, and they play, and they got so frustrated, like John and Nate did, because they couldn't get the answer right. And like it went for like 20 minutes. And they were getting so annoyed. And finally, we finally just told them the answer, gave up. But that night, I texted them both, and I said, hey, I want to thank y'all for being a good sport tonight and playing our dumb game. That group of kids will always remember that you took the time to be silly with them. And I said, you never know that a kid from that circle tonight may open up to you one day about a question with their faith. And I said, just so you know, that dumb game mattered much more than the 20 minutes that you played it, right? I think we underestimate how much trust can be built through that.
Well, the walls come down. Look back at all of your classes that you've taught, especially Jeremy being at Coleman for so long, and ask the kids, hey, do you remember this one class on this one random Wednesday? Most likely they don't know it. They're not going to remember your perfect outline. They're not going to remember this perfect way that you delivered this analogy that was just a brilliant way to you. They're going to remember the relationship that you had with them. They're going to remember the fun things that happened. You go ask your previous kids in our youth group, like, hey, what stood out the most? They're going to say the fun items or the fun things that they did while they were in the youth group. They're not going to say, oh, that one Wednesday night, Jeremy talked on, or Hunter talked on this, and like that, and that might happen. But a lot of times it's, well, hey, it's that time that we all spent together. It's that time that we were all laughing and being silly and doing something else.
It goes back to like how kids want to feel welcome and they want to feel safe and secure. And games allow us to do that. It allows a space where they can be themselves and not be weird, or the kid who's very smart that doesn't get very many opportunities because he's very, very introverted. He now has an opportunity to show what he's capable of and what he can do. And the other kids can see his worth through those games and through that stuff, even though they may not even know the kid. That the games can open up those doors and help those kids feel welcome, help those kids feel like they're part of the group. That's for me. I feel like EYC did that when we were playing. I had a lot of my students, my personal students, that were in my team time group, and it was really cool to see someone, I won't name any names or anything, but someone has never played any games with anybody, has never, and she's part of the group, but she has one to two friends, and then they just kind of do their thing. And with our team time, they were all up. They were all up. They were all going. And
it goes really from cool. Congregation to congregation to committed. They're taking that step closer into that youth group as well.
So I was going to mention the games. What Michael just said. We're board game nerds. I think Hunter is a little bit. I don't know if he's as deep down the rabbit hole as Michael and I are, but
King of Tokyo.
I love a good board game,
man.
But the ones that I really, really, really love are the ones that, like you just said, levels the playing field between a 6th grader and a 12th grader. I love a game where a 6th grader can compete with a 12th grader. Oh yeah. Now, if I'm playing with my friends and we're all strategic minded and we want to play something that takes a little bit more strategery, I might want to play something a little harder, But things like Block Us, where literally anyone can sit down, I can teach you the rules in a minute and a half, and then you can play. I love that.
I love That's Not a Hat.
That's Not a Hat.
That's one of my favorite games because it's so, it takes literally 30 seconds to explain how to play, and then you get real cocky about it, and then you just look like an idiot. Within 10 seconds, it's really fun.
Well, and actually, I was bragging on Michael, not to him, but to someone else a couple of days ago. But there was this minister, and I was talking to him about church camps, And I was like, hey, you need to come to our week of church camp. And he's in our area, and it's already full, so I don't know how that's going to work. But I might have promised him.
It was full on the second.
Something that isn't possible. And he was like, man, I just have this bad experience from camp. I said, well, if you don't mind me asking what happened, he doesn't care. Like, shared it. He's like, no, I brought a group to this camp, and it wasn't the one obviously we go to. He said, but it was so sports driven. And he said, none of my kids were sports people.
Yeah.
He said, and they hated that entire week. And I was like, you know what? I got thinking, I said, Michael Deese does a great job of that. He's in charge of our evening activities. Yeah. And he's making sure that every single thing we do is not just for one group of people, one specific group, that is going to change. There might be one event that really caters to the sports people. But there's going to be an event after that that's really going to hurt them because they don't really know as much on something else that might be going on. So that is very important as well, making sure that everybody's involved, athletes, introverts, new kids, people that those fringe kids that, they're there, but they're not really, kind of what Michael was saying, they're not really participating a whole lot. They're just kind of hanging out with their friends, but they're starting to laugh with everybody. Those walls are coming down. This bridge is being built between you and them to be able to connect with them later.
Yeah. And also, games are teaching Christian values. If you're doing the right kind of games and you're setting them up the right way, they're teaching Christian values without you saying a word. Like teamwork, getting together, working together to accomplish a goal, how we do have rules that we need to follow, and being honest with those rules. When you break a rule and nobody saw it, being honest with yourself and with everyone. Self-control, I know that's a hard one for me when I'm playing with students, because I'm a very competitive person, and I just want to beat everybody at everything. And we just played a game this morning and we didn't win, and I'm still
a little hot to try.
Yeah, I really am, and I've been very good.
The worst part
is
it was a team game.
I know. Yeah. Well, it was your fault. Anyways,
it's interesting to see kids learn how to lose with grace too. Like when their team loses, like how do they manage that and handle that? And we don't always handle that well, right?
Hey, that reminds me of Andy Griffith episode. Y'all watch Andy Griffith?
Yes.
Back in the day,
like 35 years ago. Yes.
Not that long.
There's an episode where Opie he's running a race, and he is having these dreams, and he's dreaming he's going to be the champion, and he's training for it and all this stuff. Well, he gets to the race and he gets last place. Yeah. He's the worst, and he goes around. He just pitches a fit and starts throwing everything. And Andy's like, Opie, you need to learn how to lose. And Opie says, well, I know how to do that real good. I love that. I love that episode. It's good.
I will say, like any kind of sports movie, where the team doesn't win the championship, like they get to there and they lose. Yeah, where they lose, right? I love seeing how they handle that and seeing, and that's one of the things that I despise about watching a championship game on TV or something like, this week's the national championship, right? One of those teams that's worked their butt off all season is going to go home as losers. And it's so hard to see, but it's interesting to see how people navigate that after the fact. And in those moments, you're going to see whichever team loses, was it the 19th they're playing that? Whichever team loses that game, you're going to see their coach coaching them through how to navigate loss, right?
Yeah.
And how much that matters. And then we in youth ministry, we have to teach our kids how to navigate loss. And sometimes that's loss in a game. Sometimes it's loss with family, someone passes away, or sometimes it's lost with a relationship. Maybe parents go through a divorce. We have moments where we learn how to navigate when we're hurting, right? And when we've lost something that we were hoping for.
I was going to say, what a better place in the youth group to learn how to lose, especially in a Christ-like way.
Yeah.
And we talk about Lads Leaders a lot, and we've had a couple of Lads Leaders episodes.
We've had a couple of losers in our youth groups in Lads Leaders.
So. Well, we've had a lot. But you think about that, and you think about the parents that make all these excuses of, I don't like to compete against other Christians.
Yes.
But what a better way than to lose with other Christians, and knowing that you're still doing God's will, you're still doing God's work. You still gave a 5.5 minute speech about God and the Bible. You just didn't win that day. It's okay, and we have to understand that we're going to lose at some point in life.
Yeah.
So let me ask this: Let's move into kind of talking about what games are not, right?
Yeah.
In your ministry, games are not. I'll say this: it's not babysitting time. It's not just keeping a group of kids busy. What else?
Or it shouldn't be.
Yeah, it's not a break. It's not a break from ministry. Just because you didn't have time to make a lesson or plan something out, you just say, "Oh, well, it's game night." It's not that break. I mean, everything that you do within your youth ministry needs to be intentional.
Yeah,
there needs to be a reason behind it. Now, I always try and say, like, everything I do is with intentionality. I'm not sitting there with all the events that are possible to go to on a wall, and me throwing a dart and saying, "Oh, well, we hit this, so we're going to go to this year." Yeah. Like every single event, there's a reason we do every single thing. There's a reason why all the Bible classes are structured the way they are. There's a reason that, whatever it might be within youth ministry, don't let that be a lazy or maybe a cop-out way.
Yeah.
Of you've had a bad week, so you're not going to teach, so you're just going to play games.
And I love when a game actually communicates or teaches the lesson in a small kind of microcosm way before you go into teaching the Bible lesson.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And I'll just tell you too, like if games are not serving your purpose, it's not games in general. You probably just chose a bad game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's okay to just say, hey, this game's not very fun. Let's switch to a different one. Because I've learned when I say things like that, which has happened multiple times, where I'm like, hey, this game's just not fun. Look, we tried it. Yeah. It's not fun. Let's try something else.
Read the room. The kids aren't enjoying it. Like, hey, let's just do something else.
And the kids, whenever I say that, the kids are like, oh, yeah, this is terrible.
Like, they don't want to hurt our feelings. So exactly. I'm like, hey, Hunter, like, this is terrible. Can we do something else?
Exactly.
But it's like, oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah. But when you do, you are the one that says, okay, this game's not very fun. I know y'all aren't having fun. Let's do something different. They're always, so chances are just try a new game, try a different thing, and do something different. If you're wanting to build those gaps and fill in the people that are on the outside and bringing them in, like Hunter said, the purpose-driven youth ministry model, bring those people in, and games is a great way to do that. So
we've actually, I don't know if I've told y'all this slight subject change. We've added to that model within the Flint youth group. We have added, what did we call it? Like scavengers. Or something along those lines.
They're trying to get people from one.
No. These are the people that are kind of in between. So I think we put it in between the congregation and committed. So congregations, like the kids are in your church, like they show up on Sundays, but they don't really do a whole lot more. The committed, like they're showing up to events. Well, we did like the scavengers, or I don't remember exactly what we called it, but it was something along those lines. And those are the kids that show up when there's something to do.
Yeah.
Like there's food involved. Oh, we're going to be there. Yeah. Oh, we're going to be there. Oh, like it's a fun night. We're not just having a Bible study. Like, oh, we're going to be there. Like, oh, Maywood. Yeah, we're not going to miss Maywood. So they're like, that's that subcategory kind of in between both of them. But sometimes you feel bad putting kids in certain categories, but it's, sometimes it is the truth. Yeah. It's hard to understand.
They don't see the list of the categories.
No, yeah, they don't see it. I know where they are.
So I think Michael kind of tiptoed towards this, but like how we utilize our games, if you're a big sports guy and that's all you're about, and you're like, hey, we're all going to play dodgeball every Wednesday, or we're going to, like the reality is you may have a youth group of board game nerds. Okay. Mm-hmm. And you need to think about, what works best for your group. And so, when I was at, what was it called? The Worship Leader Institute. One of the things that they do is like the first night they give a little bracelet out that says WIBFYC. And that says, what is best for your church, right? And you make decisions like as a worship leader about, hey, how I lead in this song or how I lead this service. I'm going to do it in such a way that is best for this church, right? Well, when I'm thinking about my games, what's best for this group? What's best for this group of kids and what place that they're at emotionally or where they're at? If you read the temperature of the room, meaning like if something is going on in their school and something bad happened, like we talked about a few weeks ago, maybe last week, they had a tragedy in school. You don't come in and be like, we're going to play these silly games and we're all going to, eat a pack of Jell-O without our hands. Like you don't do something stupid. You read gauge what's going on in the space.
Yeah.
So what about how long you play the game, or when do you kind of cut it off?
When the kids quit having fun. That's usually when I do it. Like unless I'm like time constrained, if I have them for an hour, we're going to play a 10-minute game at the most, Yeah. But if the kids are still having fun, like Raiders of the Lost Noodle will last hours.
Yeah, you can.
2 or 3 hours.
As long as you want
it to. But if the kids are playing and they're actually liking the game and they're still, usually they'll come to me and be like, hey, we give up. Yeah. Let's start a new one, But if they're still having fun, I'm going to let them keep
going.
going.
You earlier, I think when you were describing the game, you mentioned there's always a group of 5 to 10 kids that are just walking around.
Yeah.
When that group starts to grow.
That's exactly right.
When there's less kids interested and it's starting to do that, but also the idea of leaving them wanting more, leaving them to where they're like, man, like I can't wait to play that next week, or like, oh, I did, what did we do? Mind.
Yeah, the mind.
The mind. We just played that before we started recording. And it's like now I'm like, oh, like we need to play that again, just because one, all three of us know each other very well, and we kind of we're better at it than other people. But then it's like, oh, well, like I played that wrong. Like we should have done this instead, or now I kind of get the idea of like the gaps in the cards, and so like it's a fun game. So leaving them wanting more is gonna be a big thing too.
One of my favorite things to do with like Raiders of the Lost Noodle is we'll have like 6th through 12th grade, and they're all playing and they're all working together. And I'll find the 6th grader who is all in. He is running everywhere and he's screaming, having a good time. And I'll be like, and everybody's like, then I'll have the 12th grader and they're asking me, we can't find it anywhere. We've searched all these rooms. We've done all this stuff. I'll find that 6th grader and be like, hey, it's somewhere in the auditorium. And I just leave that. And he's like, can I tell people? I'm like, just whatever you think. And then I just leave that little kid, and he just goes over and he goes to the 12th graders, and they're like, hey, Michael told me it's in the auditorium, and then they all go in, and it makes, again, that 6th grader is then connecting with this 12th grader because they have this.
He's leading the way with them.
And he is the one he's the one that's telling them where it is, and, that also shortens the game a little bit. If I notice things are a little bit stale, giving him that little extra push.
I'll give you a hot take that happens sometimes. This is not by any means the norm, and I don't want this to be the norm. But there's been moments where whatever game or activity we've planned is going so well, and the things that we're seeing happen relationally between the kids and engagement, there's times where I don't cut the game off.
Oh.
Even though I have a lesson prepared, we're supposed to have a devotional. Like it's, we're supposed to stop at 6:45 and have a Devo till 7:30 or whatever. I'm like, man, the fellowship, the growth, the blessing that's happening right now is more valuable than the 20-minute lesson I've prepared.
Yeah.
And I tell them, I'm like, hey guys, we've got some stuff I want us to talk about tonight, but I really like what y'all are doing. I want you to keep spending time with each other. I'm going to save this for Wednesday night, and we'll come back to it, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, you don't want to be the one that does that all the time. You don't want to depend on your games and not do your job and prep your lesson. But there's times where you read it and you go, hey, we're really seeing some valuable things happen in this silly playtime. Let it happen.
And it's the same thing, when you make this lesson and the kids keep chasing this one particular rabbit somewhere else, and you're like, hey, maybe that's going to be more practical for them. Maybe that's more useful for them in their lives right here, right now. Let's do that instead. And you don't get through the lesson you planned, but you still had a great class because you talked about something that the kids wanted to talk about. And they were actually vocal, and they were very engaged in the conversation. It's very useful.
One of the best classes I ever had, one of the kids asked me to do a Revelation class, and I said, hey, we'll hit on some high points. We'll do like a 2-class thing. I'll hit some high points of it, and one of them, while I was teaching, they were like, what are angels? What do we know about angels? And they were like, can we do a whole class? So I did one big class on angels.
Yeah.
And I said, in 2 weeks, to give me enough time to kind of say, in 2 weeks, we're going to have an angels class. And I had parents that were coming up to me and they're like, dude, what are you teaching? Because in 2 weeks, they keep talking about they can't miss class Wednesday in 2 weeks. They just won't leave me alone about it. Why are they freaking out about it so much? I'm like, well, we're having an angels class, and that's like they're all excited about it. Marshall was like fired up about it, and he was asking me, so when is it? When I need to make sure I'm there. Can you push it back 1 week because I don't know if I'll be there. That whole thing.
I love.
He was so excited about it, and so same can be true with games because it's something they're looking forward to, having a good game night. We need to do that here pretty soon. We always do a big game night thing in the spring.
Well, and we always talk about this. We need to do, because we all hate lock-ins. We've made that very clear.
Amen.
We need to have just one lock-in a year, and it's all the youth groups combined.
No.
Just a giant lock-in. That'd be great.
It would be cool if we got here at 4 and we got here at 3.
Oh, reverse lock-in, like 6 in the morning to 6 at night.
We left at 10 or 11.
No, reverse lock-in, 6 in the morning to 6 at night.
Yeah, I'm up at that time anyways.
Easy. Yeah,
that'd
great.
Be fine by me.
So, what about when the game goes too far?
That's when it
give me an example.
the shaming that happens, or kids starting to pick on each other, or maybe we talked about maybe it gets too competitive.
Okay, so we had this happen at the EYC where in our group we were playing Take a Hike, and there was these two girls that I don't remember what their name was.
That one girl was
they had the
sassy.
same name.
She was
they had the same
sassy.
name, and she was like, "If you're wearing a yellow shirt and knockoff, knockoff Uggs, take a hike." I was like, "Whoa!"
If you're wearing fake Uggs, then and I was like, "Okay,
All right, that's enough. That's enough.
yeah.
The shaming that happens with the targeting someone specifically, the humor at someone else's expense, things along those lines.
Yeah.
And I think that we, especially in those moments when something like that begins to happen, what I really love to see is when we don't have to step in. One of our students says, "Hey, that's not okay, right? Or that's too far. Or, hey, guys, let's take it back a step." I love when a student has the wherewithal to say, "This is not okay." Right?
Yeah. And you always, even when you have to step in, you just want to say, you don't want to cause a big scene or anything.
You don't want to ruin the game.
You just want to be like, hey, let's take a breath just a second, and we'll just move to the next part of the game. And that happens fairly often when you have people that are pretty competitive, especially when they're, very good at the game. And they're.
Well, I had a kid a while back, and I'd tell him, hey, let's take a walk. So it'd be everybody else is still playing, and me and him would just kind of walk around the church building for a minute, let him calm down, and then I'd bring him back, and he'd keep playing, and he'd be just fine. So it just being able to understand your kids. Obviously, one, you need to know your kids, and then you kind of need to make sure it stops early when it starts to get going as well. As
we move to kind of types of games that work, but kind of playing into this dignity stuff, like making sure that we're protecting the hearts of our kids, the dignity of our kids. I am not a fan of messy games. Like nasty, making people throw up.
Yeah, what's the worst messy game that you've ever
like things
played?
Like people spitting crickets. Like we're gonna make you eat a bug and spit it.
I don't do any of that.
There's weird stuff.
No,
like
I played
our
one
youth
time.
group doesn't need to feel like Fear Factor.
I had one of our deacons playing our games one time, and the majority of the games were incredible. They were awesome. They had these wooden planks that were probably 1 foot by 1 foot, and the kids had to hold them up, and another kid walked across them. And as they did, they only had 4 of them. And so as they were walking, they had to get the wood plank and walk back to the front of the line. And then the person couldn't stop. They had to keep walking. And it was awesome. I mean, it was so good. But one of the games that he had was, it's making me sick.
Was it mayonnaise?
Ketchup, mustard, and mayonnaise.
Oh, there it is.
And it was capture the flag. And
please don't throw up right now.
You just had ketchup bottles, and people would just get handfuls of ketchup, mustard, throw it at each other.
Oh, gross.
And if you get it on you, you had to go back to your thing. And I was like, they want to dump all the stuff on the youth minister.
Yeah.
And I had to be a good sport and let it happen. I was like taking a shower like a week later and like finding mustard like behind my ears, and like it was disgusting.
That's so gross.
It was so gross.
Maybe I'm lazy. I don't do stuff like that because I don't want to clean it up.
It's not fun.
That doesn't sound fun.
It's not fun.
Well,
it's let's play this 30-minute game, and then the next 3 hours I'm gonna be cleaning up while y'all leave.
Yes, I like things that low props, easy cleanup, like stuff where they're like, we're gonna blend up all these foods and you've got to drink. I'm like, no, man, I don't want to do that. I don't want a kid to have to do that.
I want the events that they talk about later.
Yeah,
that's what I'm looking for. The events that stick with them, and they want
talked
more.
About that ketchup and mustard.
I'm not doing
mayonnaise.
that though.
Yeah. so let's talk about this.
I would do like a water balloon fight during the summer. That'd probably be the extent of it.
Yeah. Do you like big group games where everyone's playing at once, or do you like games where you've got 2 participants competing on stage in front of the crowd, or do you just gauge it differently based on what's going on with that retreat or event?
There's a time for both. Yeah. I'd say.
Yeah. I think, I like games where either we have all 40 people at the retreat playing it together, or we split up into, 8 groups of 5, and they're doing their own little small group settings, those kind of things.
Well, our area-wide retreats that we do, we have our small individual games, but then we have our Battle of the Youth groups where, the entire youth groups, all of the youth groups might be doing one thing, or it might be one representative from each youth group. So
speaking of, who won this year?
I don't know. It's been too far gone, so I don't remember.
I don't know. Was there an asterisk next to it?
I think there was. I think there was an asterisk.
I haven't seen Coleman win one yet.
We haven't won one yet either.
As the one who initially started the like combined retreats and we started inviting groups to join us on a retreat, we still haven't won one.
Yeah, it was weird. We've been letting all the other youth groups win.
Well, that's humility in action.
I was part of the one that like voiced it the first time and said, hey, we should all get together and we should all have a big youth group, area-wide youth group retreat thing. I think it'd be really cool.
Oh, you're the one that didn't invite Belline the first time.
That's right. And then...
Sam, pay attention to this.
And you didn't invite Eric, so...
and then my group just won it all. It was awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll tell you, there's been a lot of times in my life that were incredible. Marrying my wife, that was one of the greatest moments.
That was a good call.
Being baptized was one of the greatest moments. The birth of my children.
There you go.
That was some of my greatest moments, but nothing will compare to winning Battle of the Youth Groups.
And beating Jeremy, or just Battle of the Youth
Groups? Just winning Battle of the Youth Groups.
I think we got to change subjects.
Because I don't, have y'all ever...
Moving on.
Have y'all ever experienced something that was that great?
We're moving on.
Okay, I was just making
So the next topic... no, I do want to mention something. So I had a guy when we were in Tullahoma named Clay Dye. He was one of our youth deacons. He was the games guy, right? The games deacon. I told him 6 months in advance, as soon as I knew the retreat theme and where we're going to be and what our layout, the facility is, I would give him as much information as I could, and he would plan all the game sessions. I absolutely loved that. I love at Maywood that I don't have to plan games because Michael does.
I'm so glad Michael's the new guy.
I hate being the games plan guy. I love to see our teams participate. I don't necessarily love planning games, and so
I'm happy to help. I enjoyed watching you beat all the kids in ping pong.
I think one day when we get to heaven, Clay Dye will be the games angel. Like he'll be in charge of games for heaven. He was just awesome. And the best one that he ever did, this is back when Angry Birds was still actively being played.
About this.
He collected boxes for months, big boxes. And he created boxes like levels of Angry Birds. And he had dodgeballs that looked like the Angry Birds. He had a slingshot, T-shirt cannon thing. And we would shoot these dodgeballs, and the pigs, which is the best moment, the pigs, he got pig hats, and he had the elders that were at the retreat were the pigs. Like, he called our elders pigs, which was awesome. And so he made our kids shoot dodgeballs. This was at Tullahoma at Cedar Lane. So we shot dodgeballs at our elders, and it was fantastic.
That's awesome. We did something similar at our Wonderfully Made weekend. It's the weekend for kids with special needs. So we did like one of the guys built slingshots, but we did softballs. And then we had like our high schoolers we called gophers, and they were out there like their job was to get the softballs, throw them back. But one of the kids slung a softball and it hit one of the girls, just square in the leg. It was terrible.
Fantastic.
So we did mess up on that. And so listen, that's part of games too. You're going to mess up. You're going to choose a wrong game. You're going to choose a wrong time. Something's going to happen and it's not going to go your way. Be able to be fluid about it. Understand that it's going to happen and understand that you can adjust. You can, what is it? Andrew Itzen said, or a handful of leaders pivot. They don't panic.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing. Be able to pivot on these certain things.
It's just important, with games to be, have clear rules and have a clear purpose with each game. And then if something, be able to pivot, do whatever you need to do to keep the audience, the people, the participants engaged, keep them engaged in the game. Because the clear reason that we ever play any of these games or do any of the stuff or any of the things that we do is to get kids interacting with God. With Jesus and introducing them to Jesus and using these games to create a place where they feel welcome, they feel a part of the group. And then, we can then use those moments to tell them about our faith and about who he was. And, Jesus, I'm sure, played games with the people that he was with. I'm sure we see a lot of comedy in the things that Jesus talked about, and it just provided a place where people felt welcome, and that's what we're clearly trying to do by playing games.
Yeah, and I think you'll find, and we've talked about this before, I think you'll find that in those moments, ministry happens when you might not expect it. And there's kids, one of the things I used to do in Tennessee, and I do it some here, but taking some kids to play disc golf. Even though it's not a scheduled game at the church, but I'm just like, hey, you want to meet me at the park and play disc golf? well, it may be that kid's got something they really need to talk to somebody about.
You want to hit 18 real quick and we'll just put on the church card?
Yeah, well, the good thing about disc golf is there's no charge. So
there's no green fee.
No green fee. But what's kind of cool is the kid that needs to talk about what's going on at home. You know, his parents are divorced and he's kind of being pulled both ways, or he'll open up those conversations as we're walking a disc golf course way easier than he will sitting across the desk from me in my office.
Yeah.
And so, you know, games have a way of opening the door to conversations that you may have not expected.
Yeah.
Games don't replace your teaching. They don't do your job for you. But what they can do is prepare your students' minds, their hearts for being impacted by the gospel.
Someone typed, if Jesus was accused of eating and laughing with the wrong people, I think he'd survive a little dodgeball. That's fantastic. What if you killed that? I love that. He'd survive a little dodgeball.
And I'll just tell you, if you're doing youth ministry and you are looking for some fun games, you know, there's different websites that you can find fun games. One of them that I have, and I'm trying to pull it up right now.
Well, while you're searching, I want to say this. There was another podcast that I like to listen to called the Youth Ministry Booster, and
they took a long break recently. They just came back.
They did an episode about games, but specifically they got on ChatGPT and gave it parameters and said, let's see what games it creates for our youth group. And they let ChatGPT like come up with concepts and games, and it was awesome. Some of them would work, some of them wouldn't work, but they try to utilize the things that they got from it just for the fun of it, you know, kind of a challenge.
So here's a challenge for our listeners on whatever you're listening to, whether you're a youth minister, a teen, a parent, an elder, a deacon, whatever you might be. I want you to type in the comments one of your biggest game fails.
Yeah.
Something along if you're a kid in the youth group, like type one of those fails of just a game that just didn't hit with you, just wasn't fun. But I want to know some game fails. That sounds like a good time and a good reading.
Hey, while you're at it, just tell us what your favorite game is too, because we're youth ministers and we might implement that.
We will totally steal it and use it.
Yeah.
Repurpose it. That's what I'll say.
Well, listen, Jeremy is working on getting our website back up and running. Something happened and it just exploded. But once he does, we're going to post a list of games that you can use for your youth group as well.
Yep.
There you go. No pressure, right?
No pressure.
Right.
But no pressure. I do want to, I feel like we're winding her down here. I do want to highlight and announce a new listener that I made a friend at NCYM, a guy named Chris, and he works in Paragould, I believe, Arkansas, close to where our buddy Steven at CRC is.
Actually, literally, like
right there.
I think like 30 yards from
Steven?
Yeah.
Man, I would love that.
So Chris Hughes, welcome to the podcast, man. We appreciate you listening.
Shout
know
out.
You're only on like episode 12 or 13, so you've got a while to go before you hear this shout out. But we're glad you're here.
I'll text him and tell him he needs to listen.
You need to catch this episode.
Jump
early,
up to this one.
Hey, just jump up to this
Just
one
skip
real
a few.
I do want to say, like, if you're, again, I have this passion of, I want to encourage ministers to stick with it, stay in it. You're doing a great job. If you're feeling burned out or you're tired or you're needing something, do some fun stuff with your kids, you know, play a few games, even just have a game night, and just find some way to connect with them. And who knows, you know, laughter and spending time with your students could really make that difference. So, check out our website at oksyouthministry.com. Hopefully we'll have that
at
up.
some point.
We'll have that up pretty soon. We were trying to figure out, we had a bunch of stuff that came up, and we were trying to figure out if we wanted to switch where we use and what shops we use with our stuff, and I think we've kind of settled on what we're going to do.
We're in that page where it says under construction. You remember when it used to do that?
That's right.
This page is under construction. That's a
it's
callback to GeoCities or Angel Fire.
But instead of paying for a website that says under construction, we just shut it down for a little while.
Shut it down, baby.
But anyways, thank y'all so much for tuning in. Thanks for being a part of the OKS Youth Ministry, and we hope your ministry is blessed.
We hope it's blessed.
Thanks for joining us today in the important conversation of youth ministry.
Go and follow us on Instagram and check out oksyouthministry.com for more information about our upcoming episodes. We'll be dropping a new episode every Wednesday morning, and we look forward to talking with you again next week. And hey, it's okay to be the OKS Youth Minister around, but let's all strive to be just a little bit better.
We're doing our best, we're not the greatest, but we're loving these teens, we're the okayest. Michael, Jeremy, and Hunter too, keeping it real for youth ministers like you. The OKS Ministry Podcast. Real talk, real ministry, real okay.
Bye-bye.